So when we apply the same framework to just examining how the meaning of food itself is changing, what our technology allows us to do is to go beyond sort of the contextual boundary, go to the edges of the contextual boundary. In essence, it's kind of like saying, I want to look not at direct associations or even indirect associations that are one or two hops away. I want to go even further out. And I want to look for patterns of consistency that might give me an indication of where the meanings around food are headed. And there are two or three that I want to begin with. And then, Terry, I'll sort of pass it to you to see what you think, and happy to drive a discussion here. The first one is what we title in the lab. So an important shift in meaning is that food doesn't just have to come from the earth, in the soil, through an animal, through a living thing, in sort of the traditional sense that moves around, or rather can come and can be sort of quote unquote manufactured in a lab. So that's one shift that is coming. Dairy is definitely at the center of that. If I was a betting person, that would be the first shift in early adoption that I would be betting on. But in the lab is not going away. It is expanding. And the reason it's expanding is we're finding that the people's motivations around this are that they believe technology will genuinely allow us to do things better, save the environment, and get better food.
So let me interrupt you there just a second, because this is fascinating to me, because I find it counterintuitive, which often the findings are counterintuitive. But we're talking about what my bias would be. We're talking about the same consumers who value natural, whole food, unprocessed, and this seems to be counter to that. So help me understand that, because from my perspective, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, great point, Charlie. So normally, when we see a motivation that is sort of like, as a consumer, I want to use technology to push the boundaries of push beyond human limitation. When you see a motivation like that, usually it sits in isolation and it doesn't quite go hand in hand with, I also believe I should buy locally, or I should buy natural products, or natural products are better for my health. For the first time, we are seeing the two motivations that have seemingly in the past been contradictory begin to merge. In essence, what we mean by that is the same person that believes technology can push humans to do things better also now believes that natural is better. So how do the two jive? The answer to that we don't fully have yet, but we're seeing the early indication that they're converging. And so then the question begets, how will the industry respond to that slow convergence, and what kinds of solutions will come to bear that will enable that? But we are seeing that happen for consumers in their minds. And that's, I think, a very good thing for the industry itself. Another area, so one big long-term shift is in the lab. We kind of call it in the lab. Another area is this whole notion of less natural resources. Now, this goes actually hand in hand with the first theme of in the lab. So the second theme is meanings around the future of food requires less and less use of natural resources. Right now, what does that mean? It means less land, less water, and less movement, less transportation. What will that mean in the future? We don't fully know yet, but these are the early signals we're seeing. But it's about less use of natural resources. And again, that's one of those signals. It's not going away. I'm sure that's not a shock to anybody here, but we are clearly seeing this continue to develop and shape the future of food and the meanings around the future of food.